Welcome, dear viewers, to Couch Warrior TV on YouTube. I am the Couch Warrior, and this is Unbound Workshop. This video series is the companion to the Character Crusade Unbound podcast, and in each episode, we explore Skyrim roleplay concepts and ideas through actual gameplay. Season 1 is random Skyrim roleplay, and this character concept is Raiden, the Ashaba Undead Slayer. All right, now, a couple of things to take care of. Last night, we recorded episode 4 of the podcast, and as such, we are now in the interval, obviously, between episode 4 and episode 5 of the podcast. In episode 4, we made the decision that as we approached level 30, it was time to do away with level caps. So now we've got another 2-week interval before we record episode 5. And this Let's Play is essentially a video journal of the things that I am doing with this character with regard to roleplay. And between now and the next episode, we've got 2 weeks, but I will not be concerning myself at all with level caps during this interval or for the remainder. At this point, the gameplay is high enough level that it really doesn't matter. I think the conversations are going to be relevant no matter what. All right, so in the last episode, it was mostly about traveling. We, of course, now are back at Fort Dawnguard. We're going to check here to see if our Moth Priest showed up. And then we've got a few things to take care of here at Fort Dawnguard. In particular, they are things that relate to roleplay, and specifically the stage we are at in this story. There are some things that we're going to do that are going to help to represent our narrative. Okay? So, something to keep in mind. My voice is far from fully recovered since the last episode. I'm still contending with congestion and sore throat and all kinds of stuff. So again, I apologize. There is going to be throat clearing and stuff going on. There's just nothing to be done about it. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. All right, they've got some more fortifications set up. Let's get everybody in. And I always go back and close the gate. It just bugs me to leave it open. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's get up into the fort here. We'll see what's new. And then once we get up in there, we're going to talk through some of these things that we're going to do to help represent our narrative. And we'll talk about that in more detail. All right, there's our Moth Priest. He is present and accounted for. This is very good. But before we engage in that conversation, let's talk to Mr. Gunmar.
Why in the world did you ever try putting armor on trolls?
Cozy little place, isn't this?
I've destroyed the Master Vampire.
Excellent. That's one less beast and nest of broodlings we needn't worry about any longer.
Very good. All right. Let's pick something else up from him. What else can we do to help?
Serene needs help with her project to improve our crossbows. And if that doesn't interest you... Speak with Isran. He has something for you.
All right.
Take care of yourself. What?
Right.
I mean, why would that idea even cross your mind?
Okay, so
Well, I'm not sure.
all right, I got to find a place where there's not so
You've
much
been a good
chatter.
friend to me.
No,
That
I
means
haven't. I don't even
something.
know you. Okay. This can be all dogs barking in here. Probably. Okay, so a couple of different things. So there are things in our story that are kind of unspoken. That we don't get a lot of opportunity to talk about because you can't really play them out in game unless you're prepared to go to some extra work. But it doesn't mean they aren't important. And one of those things is the interpersonal relationship between these three characters right here. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So I think the way that I've been playing this out is we've talked at considerable length about the fact that Raiden is an Ashaba Redguard warrior. He was born and raised to fight the undead. And that is a very different proposition than somebody who is fighting the undead purely because they're on a revenge mission or someone important to them has been killed. It's a very, very different proposition indeed. And so when it comes to the undead, it may seem counterintuitive, but the fact is that Raiden has a much more open mind about the undead just because of his outlook. He's not on a personal mission of revenge. Killing the undead is his duty, but coming from a culture that reveres the dead and it's a taboo to swing your sword at the undead, okay? Basically, in my mind, what that equates to is that Raiden is much more willing to judge vampires on their own personal and individual merits. And that is why he is traveling with Sarada. That is why he let her step out of that coffin and actually spoke to her. Now, the way I'm playing this is Gulmar. What we know of Gulmar is that the quest where you help him is one in which you are fighting a necromancer who is defiling the graves of his ancestors and kills his aunt. He has a vendetta against necromancers, against the undead. It is a vendetta that drives him in much the same direction that Isran is driven, which is a kill-em-all type of mentality. So, over the course of the last few levels, what I've been playing out in my head is this idea that there's tension in this group. That the more Raiden caters to the needs of Sarada and allows her to continue to travel with him, the more dissatisfied Gulmar is becoming with this entire situation. And we've also seen at least 2 instances now where we've encountered vampires on the road, and because those vampires were not a threat, Raiden let them go. And, you know, in this relationship between Gulmar and Raiden is very much the alpha. So Goldir has been basically following along and saying, okay, fine, I hate it, but he's not challenging him. Now that we're back here, I think what we're going to do is we're going to find a creative way using the game mechanics that are given us to represent this conflict. All right? And so the way that we're going to do that is we are basically going to leave Goldir here. He's basically going to say, I'm no longer interested in following along with you, Raiden, because I don't agree with your philosophy. I don't agree with how you're handling things, and frankly, I'm pissed off. So I'm not going to travel with you anymore, and, you know, basically, go fuck yourself. That is going to be Goldir's attitude, because Goldir finds himself much more in alignment with Isran in terms of beliefs. All right? So, what we do is we leave Goldir here. Goldir is basically what he's saying is, I am no longer going to travel with Raiden. I'm casting my lot with Isran, and Isran is going to have jobs for me that I'm happy and willing to do. All right? Now, the side effect of this is, I think, this isn't something that just happens. In my mind, this is something that has been happening over the course of their travels for a week or two. So my guess is that Raiden is pretty sick of Goldir by this time as well. So that is also going to play on Raiden's relationship with Sarada as well. But before we get into that, we got to advance this quest. So let's do that.
I'm impressed you could find a moth priest so quickly.
Does he have the scroll? Is everything ready?
For the reading? Yeah. Just let the old man know when you're ready.
All right. Well, time like the
What
present.
can I do for you? My trip to Skyrim has become quite the adventure. Ah, my rescuer. It's good to see you again.
Have my companions made you feel welcome?
It's not exactly the hospitality I'm used to, but your man Isran has seen to my needs well enough. And might I add, this is a remarkable fortress. I have colleagues back home that would love to study this place in detail.
All right. Are you prepared to read the Elder Scroll?
Oh, most certainly. Let's find out what secrets the scroll can tell. Now, if everyone will please be quiet, I must concentrate. I see a vision before me. An image of a great bow. I know this weapon. It is Oriel's bow. Now a voice whispers, saying, among the night's children, a dread lord will rise. In an age of strife, when dragons return to the realm of men, darkness will mingle with light, and the night and the day will be as one. The voice fades and the words begin to shimmer and distort. But wait, there is more here. The secret of the bow's power is written elsewhere. I think there is more to the prophecy, recorded in other scrolls. Yes, I see them now. One contains the ancient secrets of the dragons, and the other speaks of the potency of ancient blood. My vision darkens, and I see no more. To know the complete prophecy, we must have the other two scrolls. I must rest now. The reading has made me weary.
Come on, old man. You should get some rest.
Do you have a moment to talk?
Yes. What's on your mind?
That moth priest, Dexion. He said we needed 2 other Elder Scrolls. I think I know where we can start looking.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
Half the people in your little crew would just as soon kill me as talk to me. That doesn't exactly make me want to open up.
Yeah, we've been traveling
I got a
together
warmer
for
welcome from my
days.
father, and that's saying something.
All right. What is it between you two, anyway?
Ever since he decided to make that prophecy his calling, we kind of drifted apart. I don't even think he sees me as his daughter anymore. I'm just a means to an end.
All right. So where's this Elder Scroll?
We need to find my mother, Valerica. She'll definitely know where it is. And if we're lucky, she actually has it herself.
All right. You said you didn't know where she went.
The last time I saw her, she said that she'd go somewhere safe. Somewhere that my father would never search. Other than that, she wouldn't tell me anything. But the way she said it, someplace he would never search. It was cryptic, yet she called attention to it.
Sounds like she was being cautious.
Maybe. What I can't figure out is why she said it that way. Besides, I can't imagine a single place my father would avoid looking. And he's had all this time, too. Any ideas?
Oh, right. What about right there in the castle?
Wait, that almost makes sense. There's a courtyard in the castle. I used to help pretend a garden there. All of the ingredients for our potions came from there. She used to say that my father couldn't stand the place. Too peaceful.
Isn't that pretty risky, staying around the castle?
Oh, absolutely. But my mother's not a coward. That is, I don't think we'll actually trip over her there, but it's worth a look.
All right. Well, they're not going to let us in the front door.
True. But I know a way we can get to the courtyard without arousing suspicion. There's an unused inlet on the northern side of the island that was used by the previous owners to bring supplies into the castle. An old escape tunnel from the castle exits there. I think that's our way in.
All right. Well, I have some things to do first. I'll meet you there.
Don't let me stand in your way then. I'll be at the dock whenever you're ready.
Yeah. All right, now Sarada is going to go off to the dock, and she's going to wait for us there. Now, I made the choices I did here for a specific reason. Even the idea that Raiden has his back facing her when he talks. That is kind of my way of, just a way of expressing the idea that he's pretty sick of her as well. Because she's done nothing but be evasive with him. And he's put his reputation and his life on the line multiple times. And she's done nothing but be evasive. And so he's kind of to the point now where he's saying, I'm sick of you, Sarada. I need a break from you. And Goldir is basically stepping away and saying, I'm done with you as well. So what that does is it ushers in a period of solo adventuring, which I think is going to occupy most of this 2-week interval. All right. Now, a couple items to mention here is because this is solo adventuring, because we aren't going to have backup, and because we are rapidly approaching level 30. Level 30 is kind of one of those transition points where, things get a little bit more difficult again at level 30, just in terms of enemy difficulty and stuff like that. So we're going to play along, continue at legendary. We're going to continue to use our combat overhaul. If it becomes a little bit too overwhelming to the point where I'm having to replay sections too often, dying is happening too often, I may dial it back down to master until it feels a bit more comfortable, because I don't know how long this solo adventuring is going to go on. I think what the plan is here is he's thinking to himself, okay, 2 more scrolls. If the secret to one of those scrolls is in Castle Volkihar, what we need to do is we need to go and pursue the other. And that is going to take us back to Winterhold, back to the Mage College. So we're going to go after that scroll first, and we're going to do it solo. Then we'll rendezvous with Sarada at the dock, and we'll go to Castle Volkihar and see where that leads us. All right? That's the plan. So that takes care of that. Now, I want to talk to Serene before we leave here. He's around here somewhere, but let's use this first. This is a shield that was given to us by Gunmar. Okay, disenchant those items. All right, so let's take a look here. I'm wondering, in the interest of survivability, let's have a look at the Silverton Steel Sword that we've created here. We do have 2 Grand Soul Gems. Might be interesting to put something on this sword. Reduces the cost of power attacks by 10% for 10 seconds. I don't know what that means in the context of a sword. Does it mean that it reduces the cost of our power attacks by 10 seconds by 10% for 10 seconds after drawing the sword, or 10 seconds after entering combat, Or what does that mean? I don't really know. Draining armor could be good. Stamina damage, Halting regeneration could be good. Kind of like the idea of draining armor, possibly. All right, so that may be a possibility for the future. I generally don't like to do that unless I've got a potion to use, and I don't think that I do. I do not. So we'll keep our eyes open for potions that we can use. All right. Now I want to talk to Serene. And there is a reason why specifically I want to talk to her, and I will disclose that here shortly, because that is kind of the next part of our role play here.
Do you have a moment? Gunmar and I have been talking, and, well, we're slightly worried.
All right, why are you
We both
worried?
realized that if Isran's even allowed us in here, he must be really concerned. And if he's that concerned, the situation must be pretty bad. Make sense?
Yeah. So, you're worried.
Yes. These vampires are a new threat, and a truly deadly one. Gunmar and I agree that we're going to need Florentius to help.
Florentius.
Gunmar and I have a lot of work to do here, so we were hoping that maybe you could track him down.
All right, well, who is he?
He's a priest of Arcay. Well, he was. It's complicated. He's a little eccentric, but we can trust him, and we could definitely use his skills.
All right. Do you know where he is?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know where he is. Haven't seen him in years. I think he had regular contact with the Vigilance, and I know Isran kept track of them. So maybe you could ask Isran if he knows anything?
Oh, that's going to go
Just
over
keep in
well.
mind that he might not like the idea.
All right. Hey, I'm not done talking.
Hope you're
to
getting
you.
along with Isran. He'd take some getting used to.
All right. Do you know anything about the old Dawn Guard? I'm interested in the history.
I've only heard stories. Not sure if any of them are true. Like that they were supposed to guard some vampire here, but wound up all becoming vampires themselves when they saw how powerful he was. And then preyed on the rift until finally someone put them down. I guess it doesn't matter now. At least Isran is trying to do something noble with the name.
All right.
Until next time.
Right. All right. Now, I want to... There are two reasons I wanted to talk to her. One is because I wanted to grab up this quest to find Florentius. And the other is because I wanted to get Serene's take on what the situation was or what the history was around the old Dawn Guard. Ugh. He's pissed when he's awake. How crotchety is he going to be when we wake him up? Here we go. Hey.
I knew it would come to this one day. I knew. And no one believed.
Yeah. All right. Listen. You heard the scroll reading. Now do you believe her or what?
I heard a lot of vague nonsense. You could interpret that 100 different ways.
All
The
right.
only thing that stood out for me was Ariel's bow. That's a powerful weapon, and I sure as oblivion don't want the vampires to get hold of it. The Moth Priest can stay here for now. As for the vampire, I still don't trust it, so keep it on a leash.
Relax. I sent her away. Listen, they want me to find someone named Florentius. You guys have a beef or what?
Who said something? Serene or Gunmar? I thought they'd have learned their lesson by now. I don't trust that man. And I don't want him here.
Well, Serene thought we'd need his help.
I suppose she's right. I shouldn't let my personal feelings get in the way. Last I heard of him, he was aiding the vigilance of Stendarr at UNBOUND. He may still be there. If he can maintain some appearance of normalcy, I'll allow him to stay.
All right. Good enough. What can I do to help?
The Jarl's in danger. A vampire plays as a visiting advisor to the court. Destroy it before it's able to complete its foul business. But be warned, the Jarl's guards are unaware of the threat, and will treat violence against this advisor as a crime.
Oh, great.
Convince the Jarl of the threat, and he'll let you destroy the creature. If not, then do your best not to get caught. Quickly now. The longer you delay, the more danger the Jarl is in.
All right.
Keep your eyes open.
Yep. Enjoy sleeping in your cushy bed while I'm out fighting vampires. I suppose. Someone's got to run the show, right? May as well be him. All right. Well, he didn't say which Jarl, so we'll have to look in our quest journal here. I wasn't paying attention when the messages scrolled by. Here at Lost Barrow Brewing, we have a long tradition of crafting only the finest in ancient lagers. Great brews begin with great ingredients, and Draugr Lager is made from only the finest grains and hops, aged for thousands of years. Every batch is brewed with ice-cold water drawn from the deepest caverns below the earth, checked for body parts, and triple filtered through fairly clean burial linens, then aged for hundreds of years in elder gleam barrels. Draugr Lager is good, and is not meant for barmy, soft-gutted, plug-ugly tossers. Draugr Lager, the great taste of the undead, with no bitter afterlife. All right, we got some stuff lined up here to do. This is going to be fun. I'm excited. So,
I'm glad we're finally taking the fight to those monsters.
when it comes to information about the old Dawn Guard, there are several people in the fort that you can ask, and they each have a different story. Serene's story is the one that I'm interested in. First of all, because it's most intriguing. And second of all, because it fits with the direction that I want to take the role player right now, because before we embark on these quests, we're going to take a moment to do something that is purely for Raiden's benefit. Since we're traveling on our own, we're going to be a little bit selfish. And we are going to acquire ourselves a home. And the lore related to the old Dawn Guard that Serene talks about.
The night is ours.
Ah. The night is whose? Look at that. A vampire in Redguard clothing. Full Redguard garb. That is interesting. Okay. So, you'll remember... Oh, man. Gutted. Oh. It's getting brutal. You know, it's worth pointing out here, I didn't even realize how high a level he was getting in two-handed, it's getting crazy. 90, level 90. I had no idea he was that high. If I had guessed, I would have said, maybe like 70, 75. No. It just goes to show how often in the heat of combat I'm not even aware of the levels that I'm gaining. I don't even notice that. Which is pretty cool. But he is a good swordsman. And that's what I love about him. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be, a Shaba. He's supposed to be a sword singer. My guess is, I've always thought of it as, the Redguard sword singers have a particular combat style and a style of using their swords in combat that is distinctive to the sword singers. But then I kind of imagined that the Ashaba, given that they specialize in fighting anyone, but in particular fighting the undead, that they might have also an interesting style that they've adapted specifically for fighting the undead or exploiting the weaknesses of undead opponents. And maybe that creates some interesting variation in their style. Assassin. Oh, it's getting thicker. It's getting thicker. I like it. Poison. Wow, he was really ill-equipped to be coming after me at this level with a steel sword. That seems odd, doesn't it? I mean, we're almost at level 30. I would think the assassins would be coming at me with much more than steel and iron weapons. All right. So as I was saying before, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to pursue a player home. Getting Serene's take on the lore was the first part of that. The second part of it was the attack that just took place. Not the assassin, but the vampires that attacked us there. One of them was in full Redguard garb, right? We were attacked by two vampires. And so what I'm saying, for the sake of roleplay right now, is that Raiden right now is currently tracking a third vampire who was after him, that was part of that contingent of assassins that came after him but fled. And he's tracking that person. Now, one of the things that we all know is that when you install a mod, the mod, it leaves a map marker so you can find the place. So I, as a player, know that. So I'm trying to think through, as a role player, what does Raiden know? Well, he doesn't know where the place is. So let's work it into the story, all right? We just got attacked by two vampires, and what we're saying is that we recognized that there were actually three, and one of them fled, and we're tracking the third. Okay? And we're going to make this stuff mesh together. It's also quite convenient to say that these very same vampires could be totally responsible for what we're seeing right now. The destruction of this home out in the wilderness. Nobody around. And as it turns out, this location is actually quite close to our player home, or what will become it. So I think it would be fairly easy for Raiden to sort of draw the conclusion that perhaps the vampires might be responsible for this too. So what I'm articulating to you right now, and we talked about this a little bit in the podcast last night, is if you've watched any of my other series, whether it be Twist, or Aranis Arcana, or The Passage, stuff like that, what I'm articulating to you right now in words is the type of material that I would in stories like that I would typically make into a cutscene. I would make that into a cutscene, and I use the cutscenes to glue the chunks of my story together that don't necessarily fit conveniently and make it all kind of come together. So in this series, what I'm doing is, rather than doing cutscenes, I'm just telling you my thought process. And the stuff that I'm expressing to you in words here, this is the kind of stuff that normally I would either do a cutscene, or I would create my own mod and stick a letter into the game, or something like that. I would do something to kind of represent this idea that some event took place that would lead him from one step to the next.